but screw it, I'ma do it anyway. I don't know how this will turn out, but screw it, I'ma do it anyway. I don't know how this thing works, but screw it, I'ma do it anyway. I don't know how this will turn out, but screw it, I'ma do it anyway. What is up, good people? It's your girl, Nikki P. Welcome back to another episode of Soul Untamed, where we are talking about creating a life that is designed by you and not for you. Now, this episode, we are continuing the conversation from last week about limiting beliefs. Now, last week's episode, I talked about what limiting beliefs are, how to identify limiting beliefs, and challenged you with identifying the limiting beliefs that you have in a particular area where you feel stuck, and also tracing back the origin of where that belief comes from. So in this episode, we are going to talk about reframing those beliefs. So there are daily practices that you can do to shift that mindset. And I say daily because I want to make it clear that this is a journey. You are not going to identify the belief and then wake up tomorrow and all the years that you've carried this belief will now magically disappear and you now have this new belief and you are now a brand new person. It is a process to slowly rewrite all of that. But neuroplasticity is real. You can change the way that you think, but you have to be consistent with it. You have to keep doing it. So of course, the first step of this, and this is what we did last week, is awareness. You need to know what the limiting belief is, and you need to know where it comes from. Now, the second piece of that is challenging that belief. Whatever the belief is, ask, is that really true? Because there are a lot of things that we believe and we don't actually really know why we believe it, so we'll just say it. And nobody challenges us, to think of the why. But sometimes when you have to start thinking about the why and you can't come up with a good argument that is for that belief, you start to realize logically, hey, well, this is silly. This is silly for me to believe this. Like, for example, I'll give you one of mine. So my fitness journey, I've been on my fitness journey for quite a while. And one of my biggest struggles with this journey has not necessarily been losing the weight, but muscle growth for me, because I was having a hard time. Like, I wasn't seeing it. I don't see what everybody else sees. And I was like, my arms still look, flabby to me. And it just doesn't seem like I can gain muscle, right? That's a limiting belief, that I can't gain muscle. Well, challenging that belief, is that the truth though? Let's go back and look at the results. So I weigh myself every month. And I use a special scale to tell me, to break down the body fat percentage, the muscle gain, all of that. And I was looking at my results from this last weigh-in. And not only that, I actually went back and was looking throughout the year of the different points of when my muscle was actually going up. So I have literal proof that my muscle is growing. So guess what that means? The belief that I can't grow muscle is false. It's false, right? That's what we need to do with some of these limiting beliefs, because a lot of them, they feel valid. But when you introduce logic to it and you're just like, well, is that true? Is that really true? If you think that you don't do well with coaching, right? I'm gonna give you another example, because this happened to me recently. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she told me something, and I immediately went into like coaching mode. And it was so funny because I realized it as I did it, as I was talking to her, and I felt it. I felt very empowered, and I felt like I was fully embodied in my coach self. And toward the end of me telling her what I was telling her, I said, I want you to remind me of this moment the next time I come back to you. And if I ever say anything to you like, oh, well, I don't really know if I'm really a coach, because I want you to remind me in this moment, because I'm coaching you right now. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times we can get overwhelmed by our feelings, and they feel very real. Fear is very real. It feels like when you are in the moment, it literally feels like you're going through the thing, and it feels like this belief is true. But look at evidence. Look at evidence. Ask people, like, is this really true? Challenge it. That's one way to really start to reframe your limiting belief, is to challenge it. Is this really true? I'm not good with money. Is that true? Is that true? Or maybe you possibly might need some more financial education. But is it really true that you just aren't good with money? Is it? Challenge it. Don't just accept that. Don't, even if the limiting belief comes from somebody else, even if somebody says to you, oh, well, you can't do that because in order to do that, you have to do all these different steps in between, and that's just a lot. Challenge it. Learn how to challenge it. That is all those things key to the reframe. Now, let me just talk a little bit about the daily practices that you can do to help with this. Now, every day, part of my morning routine is to do something called mirror work. Mirror work is the process of literally looking in a mirror, looking at your reflection, and speaking life back to yourself. So I've been doing this for about the last month, and I'm going to tell you, I don't feel it every day. There are days where I do my mirror work and I am great. I feel empowered. I feel strong. I am ready to take on the world. My, what I say to myself is, girl, now just let's slay this day. That's on a good day. There are days where I am looking into the mirror and tears are streaming down my face as I'm still trying to speak life into myself. But I promise you that connecting with yourself, looking yourself dead in the eye, and speaking what is true, not speaking what you feel. You can acknowledge what you feel. As tears are streaming down my face, I can look in the mirror and I can say, I know you don't feel great right now. I know it's not looking good right now. However, comma. And I always say the empowering statement, you are this. You can do that. And every day you reinforce those words into your being. So mirror work is very essential for me. I also have a particular, I'm going to call it an empowerment statement. Affirmations are cool. I like affirmations, but for me personally, empowerment statements just go a step further. Affirmations to me almost feel very generic. It doesn't feel like I'm talking to myself. Empowerment statements, I am talking to myself. My empowerment statements are built specifically for me. So I have a framed empowerment statement of the type of woman that I show up as every single day. So whether I feel great or whether I don't feel great, I stand in front of the mirror. It is included with my mirror work. It's a little bit separate. Like I look in the mirror and I say, like, give myself a pep talk. And then the empowerment statement, I'm still looking in the mirror. It's just another part of my daily practice. And I say these things every day. The words, everything that's in here, I show up this way. I embody this. I am that. I lead with authenticity. I am this type of influencer. I am living proof. The last thing that I always say is I am living proof that authenticity and purpose create a life of balance, success, and fulfillment. I say it every single day. And when you keep saying these things, it reinforces the power behind the words. And whatever limiting beliefs are there, they just can't stay because these words are louder. And that's what you need to do. Now, I'm not saying you need to do exactly what I do, but I'm just giving you some of the practices that I use to help me with the limiting beliefs that I have. Affirmations, again, affirmations still work lovely. But for me, I do empowerment statements. The other thing is I just started doing this practice where I take a few moments in the morning before I get out of the bed. I now take a few moments of gratitude. And it doesn't have to be long. When I open my eyes, I just lay there for a minute and I think about the things that I am grateful for in my life. Gratitude, I really think that when you are filled with gratitude, it is really impossible to be in a negative space because you're too busy focused on what you do have. Limiting beliefs want you to focus on what you don't have. Gratitude shifts that energy so you can focus on what you do have. And surround yourself with people that reinforce this type of positivity. You got to get you a tribe. You got to get you a tribe because they will always see the bigger picture. And when you're having moments where you just like, oh, this isn't working, and when it feels like those limiting beliefs are creeping back in, you have your people. You have your people surrounding you. And that lifts you up. That encourages you when you have somebody that's like, well, no. Like I had a friend of mine do that to me. I was telling her there was a time where I was considering I actually wasn't considering it. She was telling me that I should host a songwriting workshop. And I had immediately went into all the reasons why I couldn't do it. I was like, I don't know how to tell somebody how to write a song. Like, I don't know. And I went through all of this stuff and she said, I'm gonna stop you right there. Let me tell you why you can. Exhibit A. And she listed off all these things that I did. Exhibit B. And she listed off all these other things that I did. Shut me right up. Get you a friend like that. Get you a friend that can speak the things to you when you don't have it in you to speak life over yourself. Surround yourself with people that can lift you up and remind you of who the F you are. Like everybody needs that. There should be some kind of consistent practice that you have every single day because as is literally rinse and repeat. And I promise you, even if in the moment that you do it, some of these things like mirror work, you might feel silly. You might feel silly looking in the mirror and talking to yourself. That might be a hard thing for you to do. When you're speaking some of these affirmations or these empowerment statements, they may not feel true in the moment. They really may not. But I promise you, the consistency of saying it, the consistency of getting in tune with the vibration of the version of you where these limiting beliefs do not exist. The more that you tap into that, you'll wake up one day and you will realize that even if the voice doesn't go away, and I know I said this earlier, it gets so much smaller that it's like a whisper. And all of the empowerment statements that you've been filling your mind, your heart, your spirit with, those are the louder voices. So guess what? When it's time to make a decision, which path do you think you're going to choose? Which voice do you think you're going to hear? If you get your limiting beliefs to be like this, like whisper like this, it's like this. versus your empowering belief that's like, girl, get up, you got this. That's what you're going to hear. And that's what's going to drive you to now start making the decisions and taking the paths that lead you right into exactly the life that you want. But it has to start here. It has to start here, because you literally will only go as far as this sees. So that is the reframing of limiting beliefs. So my challenge to you this week is to pick a daily practice. You can pick more than one, but pick a daily practice that helps you reframe your limiting belief. Write an empowerment statement and say it to yourself. Put it on a post-it, write it on the mirror, any of that. Make sure that it's somewhere that is in your path every single day. Reinforce those statements and those thoughts over your limiting belief. That's my challenge to you this week. Thanks for hanging with me. It's your girl, Nikki P. I will see you on the next one. What's up, good people? Thanks for watching this video. If something resonated with you, please give it a like, share with a friend. Also, leave me comments just to say hi. Tell me how you're feeling. And if there are any other topics that you want me to cover, please feel free to let me know. And if you like this and you want to hear more, please hit that subscribe button. And I will see you in the next one.